Alright, so since we don't have any graphs in Echoes, I will provide you with the next best thing. I'll be doing trade here on Eve Echoes since I would say day 2 of launch, and I started writing the values down of items. But as the time flew by and the market changed its value, I now instead have them in my head. So the values I estimate that this item will get is based on personal experience from doing market. It's also about how I feel that the price it should be in the future for the game to thrive and not to kill all other items. In this series we will go through the value that has been in Eve Echoes to the value that I think it will be in the future, and I will tell you some stuff in between. This is to give you an idea if or when it would be good to buy some items. So if you are a new trader, this is the best you can get. Now prices will vary depending on the meta and if NetEase is changing stuff within the game with updates or patches. But all the estimated future prices I will announce will be on the low end, so generally 80% of the actual value that I think it will be. This is to feel a bit more sure about my pricing's accuracy. If you want me to continue this series, then let me know in the comments. So how do I start this series? Well, it's not an easy task, so I'm thinking I will just go through all the items. I tell you what I know about it, old prices, new prices, what I've sold them for, what I feel about how it's gonna be in the future, and stuff like that. Let's start with low slot C-type items. Most people are asking for C-type, so let's start with some shield boosters. Now the small shield boosters, we got 3 of them. There are no difference between any of them, it's just where they got dropped, but they're essentially the same item. These are at 5 million, right? Let me just check. Yeah, so it's at 5 million, 4 million. They did go for 2 million like a month back, and that was when I bought the ones that I have today. They did sell in the beginning for like 40-50 million. That quickly changed, but I do have sold them for 15, 16, even up to 30 million recently. If you can buy them at 5 million, I think it's good. I would assume that these shields will be about 10 million when all the market has settled and stuff is getting normal, whenever that will be. But so 5 million is a good buy. It's not extremely cheap, but it's good. And then we have medium. We also have 3 types of those. Those are very cheap right now. They have been cheap for a long time. I usually buy them for 300k up to 500k. I even buy them at 1 million. I would assume that this will go up to at least 10 million each in the future. I do sell these now and then for about 9 to 14 million each. So a price under 1 million is a very good price if you want to invest in those. Then we got the large ones. They tend to be a lot more expensive at times, but they have been low for a long time now. I know that I sold them for 140 million each, but that was a long time ago. I have sold them recently, well, quite recently, for 38 million. And I think that the future price will be between 60 and 80 million each. If you want to buy them now, I think it's good. You can get them even cheaper. I think I bought mine at 5, but just to get you an idea, 3 million here, so I would buy this 3.8. I would buy that. Some people might say, well, you have 3 billion, why don't you buy them right now? The reason is that I don't like to use all my ISK, so normally I only buy up about 70% on buy orders and if I buy to invest, but actually on Eve Echoes I have invested about 90%, so I don't actually want to buy too much more right now. But yeah, so that is why I don't buy everything all the time, because I just can't afford it. Extenders don't have any blue yet, so we go to shield hardeners. People are asking for this a lot. So the Pythium and the Gistum is very cheap right now. About 400k, you can get them for like 200k. I think it's crazy cheap. I have bought so many of this. I do sell them for 9 million now and then. Even up to, I've sold a few at 24 million. But normally I can crank them out about 5-6 million each pretty frequently. So if you want to start your investing journey, then maybe this is a very good idea. I mean, this is like as soon as they are under a million, I buy everything. So I think it's this is a great way to start your investing. Now back to the adaptive, it's a little bit different. They are a bit more expensive, but they are still very, 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 very cheap. I have bought a ton of this, at least 5 million or lower. So I would buy this too if I needed to invest more. I have sold this for 80 million. I have sold them for 140 million. I have sold them recently for 32 million, and quite often I sell them for 15, 16, 70 million. So it's a good buy. If you buy this and hold it and just keep track of when prices go up, you can crank them out and get a great profit. So that is my thought on that. Armor repairers, we got two small types. We got the Corelli and the Corpi. They are pretty weird. Very cheap is, I would say, 2 million. And the prices I sell this for is not below 20 million. I tried to sell them at 30 million. Not as often though. I haven't sold many, but the prices are slowly going up right now, so I see great potential. I think in the future, I think they will be at around 10 million or something. So 5.8, I mean, it's not a great investment, but if you need them, they are cheap right now. Then we got the mediums. The mediums are also very cheap. I would buy this 2.5 million. I mean, it's nothing. I would buy them. I mean, I would call it cheap, up to 5 million. I think in the future they will be around 15, maybe 20 million each. I do sell this at 15 million now and then. Not as often though. I don't think the armor sell too good right now. Then we got the large one. Price is 22. I think it's quite okay. I mean, it's not very cheap. I think they will be like 50, 60, 70 million at top. I haven't sold any of those yet, so I wouldn't know how frequent they sell. I just have some because I need it for my own builds. But 22 million, I mean, it's fine. It's a good price to buy them, but it's nothing that you wanna like buy and hold. Alright, so plates, we have no blue. Armor hardeners, this is the same. Very cheap prices, like 300, yeah, 370. I'm buying everything under a million here too. I think they will be about 10 million. We also have the adaptive ones. They're a bit more expensive. I would not invest in those. It's still a cheap price. I think in the future we will see them go up to, you know, 40, 50, 60 million. But, you know, it's all about the game. We don't actually know. I have sold this for 40, 50 million a few months back. So I'm not really entirely sure here. I would say this is like, if you already invested in everything else, then buy a few of this. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. But it's not exactly cheap. And I haven't seen this move in a long time, so. Damage controls, we don't have any blue. We have the capacitor battery. The small ones is actually quite expensive right now. I would say that they will not be more expensive than this. They will stay at maybe 15 or maybe even 10 million each. I think they are expensive right now. I would sell them if you have them. If you don't, then just buy them if you need them for a build. The medium though is a different story. They are 6.5 million. That's actually, they've gone up a bit, so I think they will be around 15, 20 million, maybe even 30 in the future. I would not buy them right now for investing, but they are actually cheap if you want to buy them for your ship. I have not sold many of these in a while either, so I think it's pretty steady right now, so it's not as fun. Then we got the large one, and those are pretty cheap, I would say. I think that the large one will be around 80, 100 million in the future. I have sold my C-type large for I think 75 all the way up to 130 million each. Not in a while though, so we just have to see what happens, but I think this is quite cheap for the large ones. So I would actually buy those if I wanted to buy some more. Then we got the Afterburners. And then we only have the Corelli, and it's 42 million. I think it's a good price. I think it's a bit on the high end, so I would not buy it unless you need it. I don't think it will be a lot more expensive. I mean, it could go higher, but I would not depend on it. So I'm not buying those anymore. I did buy them for 10 million, but this was many months ago, so I haven't bought them since, and I also haven't sold anyone yet. So we got the medium ones. This one is what you're gonna buy. I would say that this will be like 20 to 40 million in the future. It should be actually. So if you're buying them now, I would easily buy below 5 million. That is a given. I still think 5 million is very, very cheap. We got the C-type large ones. Those are also very cheap. I have sold a lot of my C-type large ones a few months ago at 80 million, even up to 110 million. But yeah, the market got a lot more, so now they are actually very, very cheap. It's a heavy item to buy if you want to buy a few and make money of it, but it's very cheap. I would say it's very cheap. Then we got the Microwarpdrives. The small ones are very expensive. I don't think they will be more expensive, like not for the future. The future they will be probably like 40 million, so they are actually expensive now, so I would not buy that today. And I also have not sold any of those. So we got the C-type medium. I think it's a pretty okay price. If you want to buy them for your ship, that's fine. If you want to buy them for investing, I would not do that, because maybe they will be between 30, 40 million maybe at tops in the future. I mean, it's not that good of an item flip, not for me at least. Then we got the large ones. Those are actually pretty crazy. This is like 27 million. I think 80 in the future. I have sold this for over 100 million, several of them. So I would say this is a good buy, but you need to keep track of the market so you see when the prices rises and not. I haven't seen them move for a long time now, so I'm not really sure. I still think it's very, very cheap. Thruster has no blue, weapon upgrades. Okay, so all these C-types, I buy every C-types that is under a million every time. C-types in the future will be 10 million, I would say. I do sell them for 10 million now and then, like a few times every month. I sell off like 30 or 40 at about 10 million each when the market skyrockets. So this is a good buy. It's a great way to make good money. I would buy that, definitely. We also got the Corpon one. It's the same one. Buy up everything under a million. You can do whatever you want with it. I actually take the ones that are very cheap, like if I can get them for like 200k, and I just recycle them into materials that I also sell. So you can do whatever you do. I think under a million is a very good price, even maybe 2 million, I don't know, because they will be a lot more expensive. Then we got the magnetic field stabilizer. Those are in demand, and as you can see here, it's pretty crazy. Oh, actually buy this just because we're here. I think that is very cheap. They will probably go for 15, maybe 20 million in the future. I have sold them for 20 million not too long ago, so that is a great way. Do that. Also, let's see, what do we have more? We have the gyro stabilizers. Those are the most expensive ones, and I mean, I wouldn't buy them at 12. I think they will be between 12 and 20. Yeah, 10 and 20 in the future. I wouldn't buy them unless I needed them. So that is a good price. This particle stuff we don't touch. The ballistic is the same thing. It's like everything under a million I bought. I think I actually bought everything under 2 million because this is in such a demand. You can see here it's like 9 million here. If I just buy this, I can crank him out for 8, and I will sell like 1 or 2 maybe before the cheaper gets out. I have sold this for 14, 15, 16 million several times, and I always buy them below a million, so it's a very good money maker here. We have no blue here, and yeah, that was it. So that was all the low slots. If you guys think this was a great thing to do, if you want me to go through everything so you can get like a typing down notes or doing whatever for your own marketing, I would of course continue with this series and do like mid slots, and I will do high slots, and I can do like whatever. If you like this, if this was a great idea, if you like this series, then tell me that in the comments, and I see you guys next time. Bye bye.